So since Cars 2 was such an immense success for Pixar in terms of critical reception and fan reception, we got Cars 3. It's not like there were any other sequels that we needed in a franchise. I mean, we're getting Toy Story 4 for some reason, and Incredibles 4 for some reason later, but we needed Cars 3 first, right? Isn't that what I was thinking? I was thinking that you needed this one. Out of all of the Pixar films, this is the one that's the most character developed and the strongest franchise in all of the Pixar canon. Um, but of course, Cars 3, after Cars 2, I was really going into Cars 3, I was thinking that it could be okay. Because the first one I think is all right, and the second one, of course, is not good. I didn't hate it, but I really didn't like it. And then we get to Cars 3, which is a weird movie because, like the first one, it is really cliched, and in a film sense, it's not anything that is moving or different, which is something that Pixar has always been really great at, doing something different and unique. And this one, like the other Cars movies, is not a unique movie. It's just a movie more for kids, and Pixar does have a great sense of having it being for kids and adults in most of their movies, in a majority, probably like 90% of them. But the Cars series is one that is not really. I mean, adults can like it, and I know there are some that do like it and view them, but for the most part, the consensus I think is that these are not as much liked for adults, because they are less plot driven and more cliched and not really original movies. But I think that, like Cars 1, I thought was fine. It's a fine Pixar movie. It's definitely one of the lower ones. It's definitely not the lowest. That's Cars 2. But I thought it was fine. And then Cars 2 was such a weird movie in terms of just going off the rails in such a weird genre change from going to the first one, about just Lightning McQueen being this race car who's kind of full of himself, and then he is taken to a rural area, Radiator Springs, and he becomes a better person because he deals with people that aren't part of his normal life, like out in the country. It's a cliched plot, of course, but I thought the first Cars was fine. And then, like, whenever Cars 2 with the plot, it just was so weird in being a spy espionage thriller, even though it didn't make sense with that, but it made sense that Lightning McQueen was going around the world, going and celebrating for his victories. But bringing in the spy thing was so weird, and it was just a weird sequel, and especially in terms of all the Pixar movies, I think it's definitely the worst. It's not a terrible movie, it just is so out there in such a weird way, and you have Mater as the main character, which doesn't grade me as much as a lot of people, but it did get annoying more because he was the main character in the second one. Like, really, really, he was the main character. Lightning was barely in it. And then we get this one where it's a switch, where Mater is barely in this movie. He's really only in it like a couple minutes, probably at most. But whenever he's in it, they make the most of the couple scenes he's in to make it seem like he's more poignant, even though he's not. But I really like that. And I liked how like I said, they switched it up with Mater being not the main character, like in the second one, and then this one, it's about Lightning. And the thing I liked is that it's not a deep movie, like I said. It's cliched and all that, but it's definitely not the worst Pixar movie. And I think I'd rank this with the first Cars. I think that this is. You can basically say in this movie that Cars 2 didn't exist. I mean, it does, but they didn't say it didn't exist, but they never mentioned anything from that movie. And from what I remember, I think Doc was the one what died in Cars 2, I think, but they didn't even, like, you could watch Cars 1 and then 3 and literally miss nothing, which I thought was interesting because it was such a tonal change from the first to the second one, and then this one harkens back to the first one, which I thought was way better. And I really like that Lightning McQueen was the main character who in a third movie, I thought that this was actually fitting that he was older, and I like this plot where it's done a lot of times. It's the plot where older person is in an older generation and the new generation is taking over, and seeing what is gonna take over, and makes Lightning McQueen not be wanting to race anymore, or not being feeling good about racing anymore, because all his friends are being switched out for these younger, newer people who are doing this. And I like that idea. And like I said, it's been done before, but I thought that in this it was fine how it was done. And I liked how we get this new character named Cruz, who is the trainer for Lightning, because Lightning crashes. And like you see it in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler, but I like that. I liked having the relationship between the two, and it wasn't a romance either. It wasn't automatically like, oh, because it's a girl and a boy, they're gonna be going together. But I like that there it was a just a friendship from them learning, from them both learning, because Lightning's older and is losing what he liked about racing, and you have Cruz, who is just this trainer who's younger, who is part of that generation that's replacing Lightning, but they kind of become good friends because of showing how much of an impact he made on her. And I really liked that. I really thought that, like I said, it's cliched. It is, but I just thought that it was a fine sequel for Cars. And Cars have never been great quality, like I said, but I thought that this one ranked just with the first one. It really worked in just being a fun movie for kids that didn't bother me in that sense of being too cliched. I mean, it is, of course. Like this movie is basically Rocky, like a couple of the Rocky movies combined, and Creed, I guess you could say too. But it's a lot of those movies combined. Like the Cars 1 and 2 were a combination of other movies that have been done before. So I don't really like to use that argument that it's been done before, because most things have been. It's hard to make something original. So I thought that this was fine, and I thought that even though it wasn't original, it was something that was a fun time. I thought it was entertaining, and I liked how the characters all who Lightning and Cruz meet on this adventure. They meet all of these groups of people, and by the end, they kind of were still in the plot, and I like that it kept them in. It didn't randomly put them in different areas and meet all these new people and then never see them again. I like that it connects back to them, and it harkens back to Lightning and Doc and Cruz, and how they're all connected, and how Lightning wants to race Storm. So I like that connection between them all, and that's what Pixar does good. Even whenever it's such a movie franchise that's such lower in terms of originality, like this is not very original at all, but I really did dig it. I thought it was fine. It was a fine sequel, and it really worked, especially in the case of having Cars 2. This works so much better than that, and works so well with just being a kids movie that is fun and fine. It's not one that's original. So a lot of people are going to go and go, oh, this is horrible because it's not original and it's cliched. But I feel like most things are cliched, and I feel like, yes, it's great when we get original ideas. It really is. But there's only so many more original ideas that you can come up with, and it's really difficult to do. It's such a hard thing. I know that companies will have to pursue to find new ideas, so it's hard. And you can enjoy the fun ones too that have been done before. So to me, this one was completely fine. It worked really well. It's just a fun hour and 50 minutes. It was a fun time, and it didn't feel long either. For some reason, I looked at the time and thought this is going to be really long, because it's almost 2 hours long. It's going to feel like it's going to last forever, but it really didn't. I thought it was paced fine. I thought the characters, where they went, it kept changing it up to different locations. I thought that worked, and I liked how, like I said, they all kind of felt warranted at the end of the movie, because the end of the movie brings all these characters kind of together in a way. I don't really want to say, but I really liked that. I thought that was really great. But overall, just Cars 3, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. It was way better than the second one, and ranks it above. I rank it with the first one. It's of course not one of the best Pixar movies. I didn't expect that going in, or one of my favorite Pixar movies. But it is fine. It is a fine sequel that, to me, worked more than I expected it to. So yeah, Cars 3. I'm so glad that we didn't get another Cars 2 on our hands, and it actually worked out for its benefit. But yeah, overall, Cars 3 was just fine. I really liked it. But thanks, guys, so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.